are these people?
So this guy puts these videos together, and I learned things from them. He put this together. It's the STFU shitlib on Twitter. I don't know his real name. His name is Tom, I think. Oh, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. I don't know his real last name. It's Joe. But
I don't know. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, see if you can find out. He's friends with Misty. So he puts these videos together, and I found out something. By the way, if you enjoy this kind of comedy, you should come see us in Las Vegas. We're there next Thursday and Friday, June 24th and 25th. What did I say? We're there next Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday, we're in Vegas at the Plaza Hotel. It's a beautiful showroom. We'll see you there. We're doing 2 shows, one Friday, one Saturday. So see you there. Let's see what else. Oh, but here, I want to show you this video. So I found out, I didn't even know. I knew that people were pretending that I was a secret right winger. I knew that, but I never knew that they were trying to pretend that I was telling people to vote for Republicans, which I've never done that. I found out watching this video. So let's watch this video. It's very funny.
That was Jimmy Dore endorsing.
And the reason I play this is for people who like our show or like me. I need to give them the ammunition to fight back when people smear me, right, and say crazy shit. And so this video is one of the things that does it. It shows the people saying that Jimmy Dore. Well, you'll see what it does.
That was Jimmy Dore endorsing Donald Trump as the anti-war option if he ends up running for re-election, I guess.
And now someone will clip this like they did last time to make it look like somehow I'm telling people to vote for DeSantis. And which I expect people to do. What I don't expect is for grown-ups to fall for it.
He avoided Trump stories like it was the plague during the Trump administration.
First thing we got right here. First of all, we have a failure to communicate. This is your party. This is exactly who you guys have been since Nixon. This is the 30 years of the Southern strategy.
Because now your main job is to fillet Republicans all day long. I hope you're having fun.
The Southern strategy, which was invented by Richard Nixon, which was just scaring white people about black people to get them to vote for Republicans.
But over the years, his content started to shift. He never criticized Republicans.
I don't criticize Democrats because I favor Republicans. I criticize Democrats because they favor Republicans.
But the reason why Jimmy Dore is deceiving his audience is because he wants them to vote Republican.
We have a failure to communicate.
He wants them to support Donald Trump if he runs in 2024.
And now you know why you have to stop voting for Republicans and Democrats.
That's lying to your audience on purpose for money like a whore.
All he did was focus on Democrats.
Now back to Anna.
Nothing has changed because of Trump.
But now he's going to help you out and just admit,
like a whore.
Yeah, I think that maybe you should consider supporting Republicans.
It's time to start voting third party, no matter what the third party is. You got to stop giving your vote to these two corrupt, murderous parties.
But the idea that you can sort of just quantify that Donald Trump was less pro-war than Joe Biden is just absurd.
Who pulled us out of Afghanistan? I'm just interested about that question. Which president? Which president?
President Joe Biden, when pulling out of Afghanistan while committing billions in funds to troops in Ukraine, Israel, and Somalia. So we're in forever war. It's never stopping. This is a death economy.
His whole railing against the duopoly and not voting out of fear, the lesser of two evils, was really just to get a way to get people to not vote for the best shot at getting left-wing proposals enacted.
What the fuck?
I just don't think, what's the worldview?
What the fuck? Are you fucking on drugs?
You're a must.
He's sitting there trying to help the Republican Party in every single way like a whore because he loves Trump so much and he thinks he's so anti-war. Like a whore.
You would think it would be 57 progressives voting against it. But that's what I mean about the flip. Now, instead of having 57 progressives vote against war, we have 57 right-wing conservatives vote against war.
I mean, if you think Jimmy Dore is a leftist at this point, you need to get your head checked too. He wants to sheepdog people into the Republican Party.
Like a whore.
You still don't think he's a con man? You just want a fake hero. I get it. Everybody wants a hero. I wanted Bernie. Bernie was my hero in 2015, 16. I know what that's like. But you got to face the music when you see who they really are. Bernie has proved over and over again he won't actually cross the establishment. So does Donald Trump. So that was a fun video. So again, I play that for I enjoy it.
Like
I
a whore.
I enjoy it like a whore. And but I played it so you people could see how ridiculous. I don't think anybody listens to those people anymore, really. Well, obviously the numbers on their videos, that obviously no one watches them anymore. But I just think if people hear that, because Kurt, you've told me that you've heard of other comedians. They're like, oh, I heard Jimmy.
Not as an insult, by the way. Not as an insult. Just like, oh, I thought he was right wing. Like, why did you think that? Because
that's
what because Cenk said it on a thing in a third hand. That's why. Because
people who vote Democrat are pissed off at me that I won't vote Democrat, and so if you're not with me, you're my enemy. And like, no, I'm to the left of you. I'm not to the right of you. I'm to the left of you.
I'm shocked that Amish kid went in so hard because I thought they're anti-war.
Amish people are supposed to be anti-war.
Let's see. He started wearing buttons and it corrupted him. He's no lefty English.
Okay, we'll see you in Vegas next week, right? We'll see you at Friday, Saturday. We'll be in Vegas, Thursday in Salt Lake City. Okay, that's great job, Joe. Joe at STFU Shitlib, right? Isn't that his handle on Twitter? That's another great job. It's not hard to prove those people to be liars and smear merchants. It's not, but he still did a great job.
You said STFU Shitlib, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Joe. Everybody
check out Kurt Metzger at kurtmetzgercomedy.com. You're going to see him everywhere. He's going to be in Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh the 17th, and then Philly, I think.
And then where else?
Or then Magoobies.
Baltimore. Baltimore, yeah. Philadelphia. Check it. I got to get back to Magoobies. Okay. Over at that. Thank you, Kurt. See you later. Over to Steph.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye, amigo. You got some good people really enjoyed that video by Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Don't resist, bro.
I'm not.
What a coward. What a fucking snowflake little bitch that guy is.
Go fuck yourself.
Of course he's a bully coward. Of course, two types of people become cops, bullies and people who were bullied.
The police started off as slave patrols. That's where the police have derived from. And they still are slave patrols because the U.S. prison system has legalized slavery.
You terrorize their neighborhoods, you fucking maniac. You piece of shit. Snowflake. You terrorize those fucking black kids. That's why they say that. Because you're a terrorist, you fucking coward cop.
The police are here for nothing more than to protect assets, to protect property, and to protect rich and powerful people.
And that's why people want to defund your whole fucking profession, because you guys are such mania. You're like the Taliban. You're like ISIS occupying our fucking cities. Get the fuck out.
I can tell you, right here in D.C., we have 40 plus police departments. So DC should be the safest city in the world, right? We should have no crime. Nothing. But yet, DC has a very high crime rate. It's almost like the police don't help crime. They don't solve crime. They don't prevent crime. They just show up after shit is over.
Cops are not angry! I'm telling you! Everyone likes us! Very pleasant interactions! You don't think you had a pleasant interaction? You didn't fucking have one?
So, black people's experience with the police and white people's experience with the police are very different. The ways in which the black people are, like the ways in which the police interact with black people versus how they interact with white people is very different.
Who wants some of this fucking pleasant policing? I'll give it to you. You want some of this pleasant policing? I got some more. I got buckets full, and all of these fucking guys got it for you too.
It's just truly unfair that people that have no experience with police brutality get to write the policy for people that are suffering.
I am not going to vote for a party that is justifying shit like this. And then the easiest thing that they say they're going to do is, oh, we just need to reform the problem. You can't reform this shit.
73% of white people have absolutely no contact with the police throughout the year. 73%.
But if you have a badge and a gun and you kill a black man, you get a paid vacation. You get rewarded for your brutality, your oppression, your racism, your disdain and contempt for the lives of others because they have a different pigment in their skin.
If we want safer communities everywhere, we need to invest in communities everywhere.
It's not just a few bad apples, all right? I counted 6 bad apples choking Eric Garner.
And then on top of that, no empathy right? You know, people talk about it's justified. Fuck you, it's justified.
I counted 4 bad apples choking George Floyd.
Right.
Thinking that you can reform a rotten fascistic part of the system is pointless, and if we know that the changes we want will not occur, what now?
I counted 3 bad apples murdering Breonna Taylor in his sleep. I counted 3 bad apples murdering Ahmaud Arbery. I counted 2 bad apples murdering Rashard Brooks.
Now you're fleeing, so somehow that's a threat to me and I need to kill you for it is just fucking beyond me. But that's what people just have accepted now. People go, well, you shouldn't have tried to run. Like fuck you, that is not a death sentence.
You gonna come and tell me it's a few bad apples? It's a whole damn orchard, man.
The cities with the highest police budgets in America also have some of the highest crime rates. I wonder why that is.
They don't need any more fucking money. They're militarized as fuck already. What good is that helping the community?
We are the ones that are gonna get murdered more. We are the ones that are gonna end up in jails more.
I think we need to be done with this shit. It's such bullshit. We aren't gonna be able to do anything if everyone stays asleep. That's what pisses me off so much.
You know what that means when somebody says that? That means to them, they don't care about black lives. They're telling you directly to your face, oh, it's just a few bad apples. I need to see more black people being killed before I give a shit. That's what they're saying. Because the value of a black man or a black person in America does not register with them. You know, 1 out of every 1,000 black men in America gets killed by police.
And I pose this question: conservatives have not received an answer yet. I know you guys see my tweets. I asked you guys if you really believe in gun rights, why is it justified for a cop to shoot someone just because they have a gun? Over and over again, they use the fact that, oh, he had a gun, so we will justify and shooting him. So my question to the right wing, this is to show how you guys are hypocrite on this issue. Do you believe in gun rights or not? Because if you believe in gun rights, that is not a justification for them to shoot them.
After all the protests, all the outcry, they haven't learned a thing. The pigs, the politicians didn't get the message. So you got to turn up the heat.
That's a 300-pound, muscled-up, steroided, fucking thumb-dicked cocksucker violently assaulting a woman.
All of them, the political class, the oligarchs, the cops, the judiciary, they are begging you to burn this bitch down.
That guy, that's him. And he's got a torture collar on his dog. This guy's fucking fucked up, and he's a cop. This guy's fucked up, and he's a cop.
Come on, bro. Come on. Let's be real about here, okay?
Do they have a psychological exam? Yes. And if you're fucked up, they let you in. By the way, if you're too smart or show compassion, they get rid of you. They like obedient maniacs who are hopped up on steroids who like to torture people. That's who fucking cops are.
It's time to wake up. Come on, get up.
Like the topic today, which is American policing and, you know, their roots and origins in slave patrol, slave catching. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So
after the Civil War, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolished slavery except as a punishment for a crime.
The South immediately moves to exploit this loophole by passing a series of crime bills known as Black Codes.
Some of the first police forces in the South were created to control enslaved Black people. They would come to be known as slave patrols.
All white people, including white children, were expected to enforce so-called slave codes.
And you want me to watch my tone? Motherfucker, I can't be angry enough. I'm not angry enough, nowhere near angry enough.
It's fighting against slavery or fighting against slave catching. Then it's to protect property. Then it's to squash workers movement. They're literally talking about that. It's those 3 things that the invention or what's interwoven into the DNA of the police from its inception.
You enslaving and oppressing people for hundreds of fucking years, and then you wonder why they're angry?
Bro, we imprison 1/4 of the world's prison population. The American police kill 3 people per day. Name it. We're the other country that has civil asset forfeiture, redlining, broken windows policing.
This practice of convict leasing earned enormous revenues for the states who lent out their prisoners, and huge profits for the companies using this prison labor.
If you're siding with the cops, brutalizing people, you're a bootlicker.
Slavery was not outlawed, bro. You tell me this doesn't look just like slavery? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is that what you're trying to look at? I mean, just look at this. Like, all you did was say slavery's over, and then you round up all the same slaves, put them in prison, and then rent them out to people to do the same work.
Yeah, you damn fucking right I'm angry. I'm not angry enough, motherfucker. The question isn't why am I angry and why am I cussing. The question is why the fuck are you not angry? Where is your empathy? Where is your fucking brain cells? Where is your common decency? Where's your compassion? What is wrong with you that you are not angry? How could you look at this shit and not be angry?
Come on, bro. Come on. Let's be real about here, okay?
Go beat your wives more, because that's what cops do. Oh, by the way, the profession with the most wives beaters? Cops, of course!
So go ahead and Google the bonus army after World War One.
I need respect. I want you to respect us. It's not how the people want it, but that's how I want it. And I'm a cop.
That's my money. That's your money. Whoever the fuck pays taxes, right? I want to see where my money goes, and I want it to go into my community around me so I can see what's going on. I don't want it to go to the police.
You cannot reform this. Okay? Do you understand that? These people are trigger happy. They're violent. They're racist. Wake up, asshole.
I'm a cop.
Where we're gonna have a doozy today. And guys, let me clarify from the beginning as well that I wouldn't have Jimmy Dore on this show. I think he's a total fraud and gets all of his money from the right wing and is one of the worst people in media.
But Jimmy Dore smoking pot in his garage, somehow that's the dirty money. The guy who after every video says, don't keep your money, don't give me money. That's what I do after every video. But somehow I'm the one corrupted. Anyway, back to you. What is it? Back to you, Jake.
Hey, I hate to say it, the Jimmys. Jimmy, Glenn, and the others. I might come back to the Jimmys of the world. Jimmy.
I think Jimmy has a bigger. Jimmy is Jimmy Dore's. Jimmy Dore. And if I have power, Jimmy Dore has more power.
Oh, how many viewers?
Johnny come latelys. Jimmy Dore, Jimmy. Let's go to hold on.
Jimmy.
No, I have to give you the distinctions. Anyway, I can't bear to talk about these guys anymore. Like Jimmy Dore.
Republicans and Democrats on the record on this issue of voting rights.
Jimmy Dore. I have watched Jimmy Dore for many years now. Jimmy Dore, Jimmy Dore's a Jimmy of Jimmy Dore's. Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore's
I'm trying desperately, can I tell you, to stop talking about Jimmy Dore because 15 million people lost their health insurance this past year, and I can't get you to focus on that issue for more than 5 minutes.
Hey, no, because you want. Listen, I can focus on Medicare for all, but that's not the same as forced protection.
It is, Sam.
Jimmy.
Sam Cedar wins. Fatality.
No, I don't care about that. That's for children. I don't care. Who cares?
What? The effing F? Are you kidding me? That is nuts. What the fuck? The hell's wrong with you? Get a hold of yourself. There's Ronnie's big head, Reagan. Reagan had always been admired for his honesty. Behind Jimmy Carter's back, the Reagan campaign worked out a deal with the leader of Iran's radical faction, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini, to keep the hostages in captivity until after the 1980 presidential election. That's treason. They most certainly tipped the results of the 1980 election in Reagan's favor. You fucking failure, you buffoon! So that's who Reagan was. He reached his right hand around to my behind, and as we smiled for the photo, he asked the group, do you want to know who my favorite magician is? As I felt his hand dig into my flesh, he said, David Copperfield. Oh. That's the photo. There it is. There's his hand, David Copperfield. And there's his face. He's trying to get a little boner. He turned hospitals into death rows for infants. He widely used depleted uranium, causing cancer rates to skyrocket. He made Iraq a mass graveyard, and the killing hasn't stopped since. You fucking failure, you buffoon!
To the American people, I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Former President Bill Clinton. George Herbert Walker Bush couldn't get NAFTA passed. Bill Clinton could. They couldn't repeal Ronald Reagan couldn't repeal Glass-Steagall. Bill Clinton could.
I did not have
And
sexual relations
with that woman.
with that woman.
You fucking failure, you buffoon. I got to get to this real fast. By the way, it's a big club and you ain't in it. There you go.
Fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again. And the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
Look. See, that's George Bush. He's looking underneath a desk, and he makes a joke out of that we created a lie to invade a foreign country and kill 1 million people. One survey found that most Americans thought Iraqi deaths were in the tens of thousands, but our calculations, using the best information available, showed the catastrophic estimate of 2.4 million Iraqi deaths since the 2003. Wow. Fucking failure, you buffoon. And he gives a piece of candy. Gives a piece of candy. Isn't that nice? The people are going crazy. Look, there it is. There's the candy. I got to get to this real fast. By the way, it's a big club and you ain't in it. There you go.
In the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right, but we tortured some folks.
Barack Obama became president. He had complete control of government. They had a filibuster-proof Senate. The Democrats did for at least a couple of months. And what Barack Obama did was pretend that his hands were tied. They weren't. And he did it on purpose. One of his moderate Republican policies was to bail out the banks on the backs of middle class and poor homeowners while making them foreclose, by foreclosing on 5.1 million houses in America. He didn't bail them out and help them. He screwed them. You know I'm bought. Come on. My whole cabinet came from Citigroup. You know that. You saw the WikiLeaks email that revealed that my entire cabinet came from a fucking office at Citigroup. You know that, right? He took 2 wars and made them 7. He increased the military budget. He took the banks and made them bigger. That's what he did. You fucking failure, you buffoon. Look, there it is. There's the candy. I got to get to this real fast. By the way, it's a big club and you ain't in it. There you go. Here's what I picture his staff. His picture of staff is
Then
like...
they say he left troops in Syria. You know what I did? I left troops to take the oil. I took the oil. The only troops I have are taking the oil. They're protecting the oil. I took the oil. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. They says the oil. So they say he left troops in Syria. No, I got rid of all of them. Other than we're protecting the oil. We have the oil.
The Wall Street Journal
moved.
He won't stop fucking saying it.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
But at the same time he was doing that, he had the Secret Service and the military doing this. That's what Trump is doing to citizens of America, peacefully protesting outside the White House. And why did he do it? So he could get a photo op. So if you're okay with what Trump did, you're not really an American. You don't really care about American values. You've been manipulated by a propagandist like Trump. And you're protecting a guy who's fucking you in the ass. You fucking failure, you buffoon. I got to get to this real fast. By the way, it's a big club and you ain't in it. There you go. He had to drop out the first he ran because he got caught being a political plagiarist and lying about it. His own staff told him stop lying about your role in the civil rights movement. He wouldn't stop lying about it. He just lied that he got arrested with Nelson Mandela. It's a bald-faced lie. Joe Biden, whenever he goes off script, he immediately goes to being a pedophile or a racist.
Senator of the Commonwealth, Congressman Laurie and Congressman Scott.
Is he literally on his deathbed? That's how you sound right before you start going into a death rattle. I want to say it's great to be here. I want everyone to know I don't have any regrets. You fucking failure, you buffoon. I got to get to this real fast. By the way, it's a big club and you ain't in it. There you go. We're the evil empire. We are. Again, they're all maniacs. They're all horrible people. They're all evil.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Donald Trump.
Hey, everyone. I'm Joe Biden's husband. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career.
Racism is evil.
I have not got a racist bone in my body.
There's not a racist bone in my body.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people.
Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is...
I want to ask you. I am not. I don't have a racist bone in my body.
You're a stupid son of a bitch.
Were you prejudging those arrested?
No, I'm not prejudging at all. But if the woman died, I think they should be executed. I think you should have the death penalty.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. There's not a racist bone in my body. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I was starting off today. I would love to be a well-educated black because I really believe they do have an actual advantage.
You're a stupid son of a bitch.
A well-educated black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated white in terms of the job market.
Anyway. They're going to put you all back in chains. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card.
They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians.
Come on, man.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
You're full of shit.
I want surveillance of certain mosques, okay?
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I am the least racist person in this room.
And I've got a sister who's the love of my life.
I am the least racist person.
You're full of shit.
I can't even see the audience because it's so dark, but I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. Mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Welcome to the world, Joe. You having a good time, Joe?
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
No, Sleepy Joe.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Do you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
So end of quote. Repeat the line.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember. You know the thing. Swami Vive Kamunan.
I was going to put him.
Suchin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
You're full of shit.
Don't ever use that word.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him. All right?
Are you having a good time? I don't throw babies out, believe me. I love babies. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here.
You are in a position of extraordinary power. You can change forever the trajectory that you're on. You can make the world that is once again full of hope, not fear. This is my message from Earth to Todd. On behalf of We the 15.
For our
It's time to wake up. Come on, get up.
First union in American history. Yeah! To the first union in American history. Yeah! Words can't describe this feeling, though. We put in our blood, sweat, and tears. That memo that came out, calling me not smart or articulate. Ironically, they also said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts, which I had no intention at the time.
That's the problem. You let an entire movement hinge on one person. It's time to wake up. Come on, get up.
When we reached out initially to David, he didn't want to do the show.
He did, yes.
So you're telling me you're a union leader. When the fuck do you see union leaders on mainstream media?
Never.
Do you think his fucking phone is ringing off the hook a month ago, 3 months ago, last fucking year?
Robert has a pretty big title. Sometimes he goes first.
But we're starting with you, Christian. Thanks for being here today.
And he's the lead Amazon protest organizer joining us from New Jersey there. Thank you, Kris. Really appreciate your time.
Here in New York, in an historic victory for labor rights.
It's the man himself, Christian Smalls, president of the victorious Amazon Labor Union.
You must be taking special pleasure in this victory, right?
Well, I certainly am rooting for you. I mean, maybe if they throw some more woke slogans at you, you'll forget you can't feed your family.
Right.
Chris, I appreciate your coming on. Thank you very much.
The biggest victory in the modern American labor movement.
And it was a battle that was fought tooth and nail.
The Union victory at Amazon warehouse in Staten Island is by far the biggest beat the odds David versus Goliath unionization win I've seen. And he covered labor for decades for the New York Times. That would make you the proverbial David. How did you do it?
First union at Amazon. You went to war with Goliath.
With Bezos.
This is not just David and Goliath. I mean, this is David and Goliath squared.
He really represents a modern day David and Goliath story that I think inspires a lot of people.
People are calling this a David versus Goliath type of story.
Goliath, Christian, was not actually technically a billionaire. Although he was large, he was in good fighting shape. But based on my knowledge of the story, well, such as it is.
And this is David versus Goliath, and I can tell you now, we all got to be David. We want to thank Jeff Bezos for going to space, because when he was up there, we were signing people up.
You thanked him for flying in his penis-shaped rocket.
So I'm just telling the truth, and he need to know that. He thanked us when he came back. We paid for that trip. So, in this case, we wanted to remind him that you keep going to space, we want to continue to unionize.
You are now a national figure in this new labor movement.
That's the problem. You let an entire movement hinge on one person, and they cut the fucking head off of your movement.
We have unity of action. We lack unity of thought. But our unity of action, it shocks us. In 1965, the African and whites revolted. Revolted. They shocked America. Shocked themselves. We did that.
What's your approach from here? To what degree do you think you can cooperate more with Amazon leadership, or to what degree do you think that's wise?
This is almost an open letter to Christian. If you're out there listening, if anyone sends this to you, right, just keep in mind who has been supporting you.
It's time to wake up. Come on, get up.
Let's make sure he sees this and hears this. Don't sell out. Don't forget about the people behind you, the people who amplified you.
And now they're controlling the narrative on you, which they put AOC out and Bernie out.
She's doing an extraordinary job. Please welcome Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
So screw this ish. I am not voting for any of you fools in November.
We've got their back. We've got their back.
You should have never invited Bernie Sanders and AOC because it's not going to elevate it. You let them know, like, hey, you turned our back on us. You don't come with us. What kind of message do you think that would have sent to the other Congress people out there had you done that? Instead, you will open arms to these people. Oh, this ain't about Republican or Democrat, but let these progressives come on in, and now let's hype up the progressives. Just because you say this isn't about Republican or Democrat doesn't mean it's so if the actions don't back it up. And at the end of the day, what did we get?
What do you think every Republican gets to do now? They get to fight you. Right? You appear as an adversary now to right-wingers. Shut Down Amazon is now either co-opted or has explaining to do. In less than 1 month, he showed up to GQ, Teen Vogue, shaking POTUS's hands.
For me, seeing the warm welcome from Joe Biden and stuff.
Good trouble, man. I like you. Good trouble. You're my kind of trouble. Congratulations, man.
Right now, it just looks like Biden and company are treating him like a puppy, basically, like a cute little puppy. Whereas, Kris should be coming in like a pit bull in the sense of they should be fearful of him.
I got a little trouble by it. You may recall I was saying I'm looking forward to them being organized. Yeah, well, you got it done in one place. Yeah, let's not stop. That's right.
Just met the president. LOL. He said I got him in trouble.
Good. But
okay, so I just
does he
want
really
your take
believe
on
that
this,
shit?
fam.
Does he really believe that?
But fam, what ended up happening is that Biden actually approved a huge federal contracts for Amazon anyway, to the point where Jacobin had to write about it.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Seriously? What the fuck? You are such a fucking asshole who doesn't care about the people.
This whole thing stinks to high heavens. And I'm glad you got in there and you fought and you did something. But what did we get? What did we get? We haven't gotten anything yet. We don't know. Use your power correctly. And don't forget that this guy that you're going to shake his hands, he's the one who created all the conditions in which we're swimming in right now.
It's go time. Come on. Don't let your movement hinge on one person. It doesn't work. FDR did the same fucking thing. History lesson. Go read your fucking history books. What did FDR do? He took the socialists. He took the communists. He talked the talk. He gave them the New Deal. He gave them the federal jobs program. And then he cut the fucking heads off of their movement. And he absorbed their leaders. And he crushed their movements for 100 years. You got nothing since. Nothing. All the wealth going to the top 1%, and you got shit. Even during the pandemic, what did they give you? Fucking scraps, crumbs of $1,200. That's how much they respect you. And then Bernie Sanders like, Joe Biden was a friend of mine.
Like, how do you not see those optics?
Wake up, asshole.
I enjoy it.
To the first union in American history.
Yeah!
I'm in trouble, man. I am. Thank you. What's up?
Biden, our friend Joe, our good friend Joe.
Well, you got it done in one place. Yeah. Let's not stop.
That's right.
Seriously? What the fuck?
Biden, our friend Joe, our good friend Joe.
You are such a fucking asshole who doesn't care about the people that you fucking represent.
You know, it wasn't until we were victorious that we got any type of support. So to have it now, you know, visiting the White House, having a comrade in Bernie Sanders.
Seriously? What the fuck?
You got no friends in Washington, D.C. Your enemy is laughing at you. Wake up, asshole.
I didn't go in there to just do a photo op. I definitely had some demands that they didn't play. And, wow. You know. And the whole thing about going to meet him because you think it's going to elevate the situation. No, not even the fact that the co-option that can take place that we've seen from almost every single leftist outlet out there that eventually gets swallowed up by the establishment. Biden was the architect for the conditions that created the fact that you are fighting like the Dickens that we are all living in right now. Realize that it's not a left or right thing. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. It's a workers thing. Just because you say this isn't about Republican or Democrat doesn't mean it's so if the actions don't back it up.
God, I love that moment, especially with Senator Graham kind of like looking down and shit. You know he was embarrassed.
First of all, I want to address Mr. Graham. First off, you know, it sounded like you was talking about more of the companies and the businesses in your speech, but you forgot that the people are the ones who make these companies operate. And I think that it's in your best interest to realize that it's not a left or right thing. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. It's a workers thing.
Just like hearing Lindsey Graham's name, I get like, I can feel my heart rate go up. Like the anger start to like, you know, build inside me.
I definitely went off script. I had to hold it in.
Yeah.
The notion that people in the united in this democracy will outmatch tyranny is the oldest American ideal. The reason why we're an independent union is because we don't want to get tied to politics, because we're representing 8,300 members that we know are going to have different political views. I mean, I've been on tour across the country. It's been like a real hot labor summer.
I see you watching me, brother. Watching. You know I was coming. You ain't gonna stop me. You told me on April 2nd, right? That I wasn't smart or articulate. But guess what? Look what I did. Look what I did. If tonight, after I leave here, the local clan rides up on the campus, puts up some racist signs, slaps a couple of sisters, brothers around, tomorrow morning, every African out here be out here. Even the Uncle Toms. Let's get down. We got to do something. And I promise you, for 3 or 4 days, you'll be very hot.
It's been like a real hot labor summer.
There'll be no peace on this campus for 3 or 4 days. White students even be afraid of you. And after 3 or 4 days, you will sit down. And you'll forget about it. Fuck Jeff Bezos! Fuck Jeff Bezos! Billionaires, they gotta go! Billionaires, they gotta go! Fuck Jeff Bezos! Fuck Jeff Bezos! Just because everybody's against the same thing doesn't mean everybody is for the same thing. Fuck Jeff Bezos! 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 Unity doesn't represent what you're against. It represents what you are for.
Now I hear like he is in talks of writing a memoir.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
And a friend of the show, Franco, I think also reached out recently.
Friend of the show, Sabby, too.
Sabby has also tried to reach out. I just feel like we want sit rep, man. Like, where's the actual work happening? What's actually happening?
What's the plan, and how can we help? And how can we help organize and get the word out and spread the stories of what's happening in the warehouses and hold meetings offline for workers? We want to help. We have a voice. We know how to run streams. We know technology. We know marketing. We know social media. We have skills that we can lend to this. And we're offering, and we're kind of screaming here that we want to help.
Of course, they tried to demonize my character. You know, they saying that the union dude is going to go towards my Lamborghini. But they don't know me. I'm more of a BMW guy. But there you go. It wasn't even enough for me to even come to the table.
Pinky ring, we're about to hit the two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. But I left the bottle, now she tips.
Capitol Hill, you're how old at this point?
I'm 28.
And I think the thing that stands out when you watch this is that you were a young, happy woman who was literally embarking on your dream career.
Yeah, lots of giggles.
Joe fucking Biden should be at the fucking Hague.
Yeah, I met my ex-husband actually during the time I was living in Washington, D.C. when I was working for Joe Biden. The joy of that was my child and my daughter, and it's wonderful. But the heartbreak was that he was quite abusive and had a history, and we were put in a program that required me and my daughter to leave the area and have a sealed name change and live in a safe house.
They're not coming forward, okay, for your fucking validation. That's a very brave act, and whenever they come forward is whenever they come forward, and you shut the fuck up and you listen and you respect that. End of story.
You say Senator Biden and you had an experience in a hallway in one of the Capitol buildings. Can you describe what happened that day?
I remember going down the Russell Building floors, and so I don't know if I was in the first floor or the basement, but there's corridors that lead to the Capitol and that kind of thing, and I was trying to catch up with him.
This would have been on a weekday?
Yes, and I remember like my heels, like my legs hurting a little, and like, you know, there was just from walking really fast. And then I saw him at a distance. He was talking to someone, and they walked away the other direction. And then he greeted me. He remembered my name. And then I said, you know, here you go, Senator. I handed him the bag. And it happened very quickly. I remember being pushed up against the wall and thinking the first thought I had was, where's the bag? Which is an absurd thought, but that's what I thought was, where's the bag? Yeah, because I was handing it to him.
Demented, raping, death rattle, Joe Biden.
And I remember I was up almost on my tippy toes. And when he went inside the skirt, he was talking to me at the same time, and he was leaning into me. And I pulled this way away from his head, I remember. And so he was kissing my neck area, and he whispered, did I want to go somewhere else? He said, I want to fuck you. And I remember my knee hurting because our knees, he had opened my legs with his knee and our knees caps clashed. So I felt like this sharp pain. And then when I pulled away,
You're right?
He had taken his hands and put them down my skirt and taken one hand and penetrated me with his fingers. And when I pulled away, he pulled back, and he looked at me like kind of almost annoyed, and he said, come on, man, I heard you liked me. And that's when I could see that he was angry, and he put his finger kind of towards my face, and he said, you know, you're nothing to me. You're nothing. Those words stayed with me my whole life. Then he just kind of shook me, almost like, you know, and said, you know, you're okay, you're all right.
Had you said anything to him?
I wanted to say stop. And I thought it. I don't know if I said it, but sometimes, you know, when I've had a couple bad dreams or a few bad dreams about it, I wake up yelling that. I wake up yelling stop.
Why did you resist going to the police?
You know, they're there to protect the senators and congressmen. They're not there to protect us.
What do you say to people who say they don't believe you?
That's okay. You don't have to believe me. I'm the one who has to live with it.
It seems there was very little for you to gain in coming forward.
There's nothing to gain. And in my case, I lost everything.
Senate office building in the middle of the day, in the middle of a corridor, he's a sitting U.S. senator. There would be others. That they can't believe Tara Reade because there's no one else making an allegation this serious. Mm-hmm. What do you say to them?
I think I'm a poster child as to why a woman wouldn't come forward, aren't I? You see what's happening to me. My friends and family are being harassed and attacked and discredited and dragged through the mud. I think one thing that was notable was it took him a long time to respond, didn't it?
Biden.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Like how long did it take?
Over a month for him to publicly respond. If he's watching this, what do you want to say to him?
I want to say, you and I were there, Joe Biden. Please step forward and be held accountable. And if you feel that you can address this in a real way, then you know, and I know, that you should step down.
Do you feel like you've found some happiness again now?
No, not yet. I'm there. I'm getting there, though. I'm rebuilding. Right now, I'm kind of still in the middle, and I'm still kind of shocked by some of the things that I've lost, and like having my reputation really destroyed has been really difficult, so I'm still navigating that right now. So I'm still kind of in a raw place.
No. This is a blue rapist. Oh, we protect the blue rapists. But if it's a red rapist, then we go after them. Man, fuck you assholes, okay? It's always the same bullshit, right? It really makes my blood boil. Y'all are gonna be the end of me, man.
I think one thing that was notable was it took him a long time to respond, didn't it?
Biden.
Correct. Like how long did it take?
Over a month for him to publicly respond.
Right.
Joe fucking Biden should be at the fucking Hague.
Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
Man, fuck you, you stupid fuck.
The truth is what matters. And in this case, the truth is these claims are flat out false.
You got something missing in there, you know? You really got something missing in there, you stupid fuck.
And so I'm not worried about it at all. If there is a complaint, that's where it would be. That's where it would be filed.
It wasn't documented correctly, and she didn't fill out the proper form from the proper government official.
I'm not worried about it at all.
Man, fuck you, you stupid fuck.
Look, this is an open book. There's nothing for me to hide. Nothing at all.
I mean, this guy is a compulsive liar. How the fuck do you believe a word this motherfucker says? He's a mass murderer. He's a mass murderer. No. This is a blue rapist. Oh, we protect the blue rapists. But if it's a red rapist, then we go after them. Man, fuck you assholes, okay? It's always the same bullshit, right? Have you seen the videos of this motherfucker sniffing women? How can you watch those videos and tell me this guy is not a fucking sexual predator? Are you fucking blind? It's not one video. It's dozens of videos. How are you supporting this fucking monstrosity? You got something missing in there, you know? You really got something missing in there. You stupid fuck. Okay? Fuck you, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Donald Trump, and fuck the entire establishment. They're all a bunch of rapist war criminals, each one worse than the next. Alright? That's how much they respect you. And this motherfucker can't even speak properly. Joe fucking Biden should be at the fucking Hague.
Demented, raping, death rattle, Joe Biden.
Really, it really makes my blood boil. Y'all are gonna be the end of me, man.
He took a yes or no question and answered with about a 27-word answer that is just, if you heard, it's cadenced as if he's practiced it.
If someone removes you from the answer twice, there's a high likelihood of deception.
His request for approval is certainly there. His blink rate is up.
Interruptions, non sequiturs. Count how many times did we get removed? If I'm imagining this scenario, how many times did I get removed from that man by date or time or person or group or anything else that takes us out of the yes or no question? Let's see how many times we got.
I am absolutely positive that no one that I'm aware of ever has been made aware of any complaint, a formal complaint made by or a complaint by Tara Reade against me at the time this allegedly happened 27 years ago or until I announced for well, I guess it was in April or May of this year. I know of no one who's aware that any complaint was made.
Man, fuck you assholes, okay? It's always the same bullshit, right? Congressional records list August 1993 as Reade's last month of employment with Biden's Senate office. And according to property records, Reade's mother, Jeanette Altimus, was living in San Luis Obispo County. Uh-oh, sounds like this story does actually have teeth.
San Luis Obispo, California. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Look at what position he put her in. It's disgusting. Not to mention, Not to mention all those people, all of these motherfuckers who are defending this piece of shit rapist Joe Biden, who are saying, oh, she's just making this up. She just came up with the story yesterday because Joe Biden's running against Bernie Sanders and he's running for president. Oh, really, asshole? Well, what the fuck is this then, huh? What's your counter argument for this evidence right here of her mom calling in 1993, asshole?
ABC News also spoke with Reade's brother, Collin Moulton. He told us his sister mentioned in 1993 that she was experiencing, quote, harassment at work. He said he did not know the details until recently, but he later texted us to clarify that he does remember his sister telling him back then that Biden, quote, more or less cornered her against the wall and put his hands up her clothes.
She started telling me about Joe Biden and what he had done. And basically she told me that he put her up against a wall and he put his hand up her skirt and he put his fingers inside her. I'm sorry, 1995 or early 1996.
No. This is a blue rapist. Oh, we protect the blue rapists. But if it's a red rapist, then we go after them. Man, fuck you assholes, okay? It's always the same bullshit, right? Y'all are going to be the end of me, man.
Anita Dunn, who worked in the Obama administration and is part of the Joe Biden campaign, she was basically working at SKD Knickerbocker, which is like this LLC, I guess, that's all about Democratic strategists. By the way, Anita Dunn, she actually gave free legal advice to Harvey Weinstein, so keep that in mind as well. These people are really shady. Tara Reade goes to Time's Up, an organization started to help women basically protect themselves when they, come out with their survivor stories. Time's Up is represented by SKD, okay? SKD is this LLC, it's this Democratic strategist group. Anita Dunn is part of it. She's part of the Joe Biden campaign. The Joe Biden campaign funneling tons of money into SKD, all right, which represents Time's Up. Okay, so effectively what's going on is, and Time's Up told Tara Reade, we're not going to help you. Basically, the Joe Biden campaign is paying Time's Up not to help Tara Reade, which is a really, really big deal. Really, really massive deal. If you look at these donations, I mean, this is truly remarkable stuff. If you look at these donations here, these all come from Biden for president. The recipient is SKD Knickerbocker LLC. And so it's all direct mail. Here's what you can see, dude. A lot of money has been donated.
When these two polar opposite sides come together to have a conversation, I think is fascinating. And the reason why is because these are the type of conversations that I feel that as Americans, we need to be having.
We've got a lot to talk about. If I get to have the opportunity to have a conversation with Andrew, I'm going to push back on that. I mean, he thoroughly exposed the Ukraine proxy war madness. He thoroughly exposed the COVID agenda. He thoroughly exposed the Great Reset. I think, though he didn't make that the primary point of his content, I think that's why they took him down. He's a free man. He thinks for himself.
Censorship is not the answer. It is never the answer. What both sides can and should come together on at some point, the establishment is against both of us. The right has seen what the establishment will do to Trump. The left has seen what the establishment will do to their candidates like Bernie.
So this is just the beginning of a mass exodus away from the influence of control by tech companies.
Based. We've got a lot to talk about.
That's like when I interviewed a Boogaloo Boy. They all freaked out. We can. Yes, we can.
In order to get rid of communism means get rid of the big banks. Yeah. Get rid of big pharma. Right. What else? Big tech. Right.
We've got a lot to talk about.
The people here are very fed up, and they're ready to collectivize and sort of seize the means of production.
So he's saying to this guy, a Marxist idea, that the workers should seize the means of production.
It's funny. I work for actually not this shirt, the other shirt I had an earlier for a company not too far from here called Liberty Pump, non-union. They let the owners of the company sold a third of the company to the employees, so the employees have ownership of it.
That's exactly what Marx says. So he's saying that's a great thing.
We've got a lot to talk about.
That's what this Trumper is saying to a communist. They're agreeing. And if you don't think this makes the establishment shit their pants, you've been watching too much corporate news.
You've got, again, your Ministry of Information, all right, have enabled an increase in the spread of illegal or harmful content. Who's it harmful to? Okay,
harmful to the elites.
Yeah, exactly, harmful to the people.
Harmful to the corporate narrative.
So you're okay with a voice that you don't agree with, censoring another voice that you don't agree with because you don't agree with that voice.
They are expanding the police state. They are expanding the national security state right in front of our faces. And progressives like David Doe, TYT, none of these people are saying anything because they're also worried about the red versus blue game. Hell, they are endorsing censorship. They agree with the fact that people try the YouTube channels pulled down. but they don't believe that fucking CNN had to say they were lying about war.
Julian Assange is possibly the biggest hero in the world, in my opinion, who should have a parade and a day named after him.
And you know, the first person to be deplatformed was WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. And this would be a great way for Donald Trump to stick the thumb back in the eye of these people, is to pardon Julian Assange. If he knows what's good for freedom of speech and freedom of the press, he should take this moment and pardon Julian Assange.
I didn't used to think that, and I totally agree with it, partly because you convinced me through the force of your argument. I think that's absolutely right.
This is a bipartisan thing, too. You guys were both at the DNC, right?
Yes.
Outside the DNC, they were chanting, "Hillary cheats, thank you, WikiLeaks," after Bernie conceded.
Yep. People on the right should want to go and talk to people on the left, right, to convince them of ideas. People on the left should go talk to people on the right and try to convince them of ideas. That's how you win.
We've got a lot to talk about.
We can't be, we can. Yes, we can. They all want you to think these are left-right issues. They're not. Ending the war, not a left-right issue. Living wage, not a left-right issue. Healthcare, not a left-right issue. Wall Street, not a censorship. All these are not left-right issues. These are us against them.
And you guys want me to worry about Democrat versus Republican? That's what you want me to worry about?
We have a common enemy, and that enemy is the oligarchy that did a controlled demolition of our economy over the last 2 years while enriching them and having us hate each other over a vaccine that didn't work this way they said it did.
Man, is that true? Great, Jimmy Dore. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Because, again, we know who has the real power in this society. It's the corporations, right? They just buy the politicians, right? You just buy them. It doesn't matter if Democrats or Republicans win. You just buy them.
And the quicker people realize that both parties are not on their side, they only serve the oligarchy. We are, in fact, in an oligarchy. Your democracy was stolen way before Trump. Until that happens, we won't ever have real change.
Man, is that true? Great, Jimmy Dore. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Yep. Jimmy Dore is 100% correct on this, right? And this is why I respect Jimmy Dore.
They don't want me on your show talking to your audience.
I do watch Tucker sometimes. I've really enjoyed his recent videos on why we shouldn't go to war, for example, where on CNN you'll hear pundits wheeled out, often who have vested interest in going to war, to tell you that there should be a war.
They see things as left versus right still. These people are still behind. They see things left versus right. Oh, you can't unite with these people who are anti-war because, oh, they might be right-wingers or they may have conservative views. Bro, fuck. Stop thinking about stuff in left and right. If you're still thinking about stuff in left and right, you're literally like 10 to 15 years behind at least. It's them versus you. It's the rich versus us. It's the military-industrial complex versus us. It's the prison-industrial complex versus us.
Man, is that true?
Like being right-wing or left-wing, that just used to be a thing. Now it's like a sort of an attempt to smear, slander, and take someone down.
We're in the class war right now. We are living in the expansion of the national security state. Stop playing the red versus blue game. They are waging a war against us.
Do you see how that's a little bit more productive than calling this guy, who obviously is of good faith, calling him all kinds of names?
Maybe it's time to forget the right wing and the left wing and to focus on the bird in the middle. And hopefully that bird can fly us to something approaching freedom.
Man, is that true?
Yeah.
STFU
should live too. All right.
I enjoy it. I like it